Hi BookTube, my name is Addison. I'm new to the BookTube community, so you may have to bear with me a little bit as I get the kinks out, but I'm going to do the My Favorite Writers tag, which was going around a number of months ago. I'm a little bit late, but I feel like it's a good fit to for a video early in the stages of my channel. So, for my not quite authors, I chose, for the most part, the authors that are my guilty pleasures. And they're the ones that I would like to I would like to say before I begin, don't judge me, but I'm going to be completely honest, and if they publish a new book, I'm going to read it. So, this is not going to be a Harry Potter channel, but I find Harry Potter to be a huge comfort read. So I'm going to say J.K. Rowling for one of my not quite. If I've had a bad day, I might stick on the Harry Potter audiobook and just listen to it. Yeah, so I can't do this without mentioning J.K. Rowling. Same thing goes for Dan Brown. I don't read a lot of thriller type books, and what can I say? They're fun. They're fun books, and when a new one comes out, I read it. So there you have it. Another guilty pleasure author is Sophie Kinsella. I don't read a lot of romance, and it's kind of ironic that the one copy of her books that I seem to have here is Shopaholic Takes Manhattan. And the only books that she writes that I don't really like are the Shopaholic ones. I've read a couple, but I find it really silly. Especially in the beginning when Becky Bloomwood has no money and she just digs herself into a hole with ridiculous shopping habits. I couldn't get past that. But her other books, they're like it's like a rom-com movie in a book. They make me laugh usually. And another guilty pleasure, Sara Addison Allen. I have not read all her books, but sometimes I just need some lighter fare. And she's one of my go-to authors that I enjoy it. It's fun. I especially liked this one, Garden Spells, which is a romance with a little magical element. And I liked it. It was good. And I guess the last of my guilty pleasures, this is Ian Reid, who's a Canadian author. So I read this one, I'm Thinking of Ending Things. It's kind of like a horror movie. And it's, I read this one around Halloween time, I think, because I try to do spooky reads in October. And I don't know, I really like this one. And then he has a new one, I think, that came out in 2019. I think I read that one on NetGalley. And I cannot remember the name of that book. I am sorry. But he has two novels out. They're both kind of weirdish, horror-ish type thing. And then my sixth and final, not quite. I'm going to say M.L. Stedman, because this is not a guilty pleasure. I have no qualms telling you that I adored this book. It takes a lot for a book to bring me to tears. I was sobbing at the end of this book, The Light Between Oceans. I have to say, not quite, because this is her only book that I'm aware of. The minute she publishes another one, if she does, I will be all over it. All over it. Now, my 4 maybes are books that, authors that, they have books that I love and books that I was like, I don't know, I didn't really hop on the train. So, Elizabeth Strout. I love her writing style. This is Olive Kitteridge. I have read her brand new Olive Again. I love this character. I love Strout's writing style. It's very warm. It's just embracing. I feel like you can just fall into her books. I can't really call her a favorite, but she's getting there. So I'll go with maybe. Same thing goes for Diane Satterfield. I love The 13th Tale. It's one of my favorite books of all time. After I read that, I read the next book she published, Bellman in Black, which was a book that I really should have abandoned, but I stuck with it. And I mean, it's just not good. I don't know what was going on there after The 13th Tale. And I have to include her in this favorite writers video, because the minute this was published, I wanted it. I was actually lucky enough that this was published around November, December of last year, 2018, I think. And I got it as a Christmas gift, and I was really excited, and I read it right away. And this one was like 4 stars. My other maybe, I'm going to put 2 more Canadians on the list. I like to focus on CanLit a little bit, but I'm not just putting these here because they're Canadian. I'm putting them here because they deserve to be here. I'm saying maybe on Emma Donoghue for a couple of reasons. I haven't read all her books, so I can't speak to all of them. And those I have read, there's been a couple that I really, really liked. The Wonder being one of them. And of course, her very popular book, Room. And then there's others that were just okay. I most recently read her brand new one, Akin, it's called. And, you know, it's pretty good. But I didn't love it. So that's that. And then this is my 4th and final maybe author. I'm going to say Michael Crummy. I haven't read all his books. Most recently, I read this book, The Innocents, and I couldn't put this down. Like, it's a different book, but it's very, very compelling read. I'm not going to totally talk about this book because this is an author video, but so I haven't read all his books, so I can't call him a favorite. Although there are authors that I have on the favorite that I haven't read all their books, but I'm still early enough in my Michael Crummy stage that I'm not sure, but he's a possibility. So for my favorites, I have a couple of contemporary authors. I have 3 contemporary authors and a couple of classics, classic lit authors. So John Steinbeck. I have not read all his books. I am treasuring them. I read one every now and again. All the ones I have read, I have loved. I just find his writing so profound, and I mean, what can I say about him that hasn't already been said? Not sure, but he's definitely going on my favorites. This is a little funny. This is my copy of Wuthering Heights, which is really small, and so I'm including Emily Bronte. I know this is it, but I really like it. And it's one of my favorite books of all time. And I cannot do a list of my 5 favorite writers without including the person who wrote this book. So she's there. On to my more contemporary. And I'm going to use Margaret Atwood as my transition between classics and contemporary, because I think we can fairly say at this point that The Handmaid's Tale is a classic novel and one of my favorites. This is The Testaments, which of course I ran out and bought the minute it was published. I have not read everything Margaret Atwood. There's a lot, but I'm picking away at it, and she's a fabulous writer and a Canadian. Can't ignore that. So I have my Kobo here for the next one, because I don't seem to have any of her books at hand, although I thought I had a copy of Eat, Pray, Love, which I know is very popular and mainstream. But so Elizabeth Gilbert, this is the signature of all things I have up here on my Kobo. Her fiction just sucks me in. I read her latest one, City of Girls. I think I had that from NetGalley just before it was published, and I mean, I couldn't put that one down. I read it in like a day. And my 5th and final favorite writer, I'm going to say Alice Hoffman, because I haven't read all of her books, but all the books I have read, I have loved. I've loved them. I actually haven't read The Dove Keepers. This is one of many, many books that I own, but have yet to read. So another book that I read this summer was her latest, and I think I had it from NetGalley as well, The World That We Knew. Same thing. I read that book in like a day. And her Practical Magic books, I'm anxiously awaiting the publication of her new one in that series, which is going to be a prequel. And so there you have it. Thank you for listening. Those are my favorite writers, and I hope you won't judge me too harshly. Bye.